Yeah, cheers. Hi guys, welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming, and today we're taking a look at Dragon Age the Veilguard. This is the third time I've recorded this, hence the application of alcohol. The first time it decided to record via the DualSense microphone, which obviously meant it was super quiet. The second time I did it again, and I missed out a load of stuff that I said in the first one, so we're going again. It's like God doesn't want me to disassociate from Veilguard. So, Dragon Age the Veilguard. If I were to rate it based on just the gameplay, the performance, the graphics, it would be a mid-5, like bang in the middle. But unfortunately there's other stuff contained within the game which drags it down further. Let's go through, because it's going to be nice and short, the things I liked about it. The environmental graphics are nice. It runs pretty well. It's well optimized. And it's got some good hair physics in it. Some of the stuff about the character creator was decent enough. I was able to approximate myself relatively well. Obviously he was more handsome and in a particular art style that I'll come on to in the negatives. But that's pretty much what I liked about Dragon Age the Veilguard. The combat is serviceable, at least for a little while. And you know, it works. I haven't had any weird crashes. I did have one weird thing where, if I remember to put it in, I'll put it in now. It kept respawning me over a drop into the water of death, because you can't swim in this game for whatever reason. So I had to load a previous save point, but it only took me back probably about 5 minutes, and the game seems to handle save points okay. So there we go. That's the positives out the way. The negatives, we'll deal with like some of the other stuff, and then we'll talk about the elephant in the room. Okay, so they've redone the art style to be very Pixar-ish. It's very childish. It's very sort of PG approved. Even the darker stuff, like if you take an ogre from this game and compare it to any of the previous games, it looks like it was made for a children's cartoon. The characters themselves are, again, Pixar-y. They're very cartoony. It looks like you've taken Fortnite characters and put them in the world of The Witcher. The distinction between the environments and the characters is that jarring. The combat becomes very, very boring very quickly. I have finished the game. I spent just under 40 hours finishing the game. I had a load of side quests to do across the maps, and because I didn't do the side quests, I didn't achieve a great ending. In fact, I had everybody die. But even then, you know, I was expecting some like wrap-up ending. No, I didn't get that. I got a monument with 4 lines of text across it. It didn't tell me what happened after the fact, like most of these games do. Even in a very minimalist kind of way, like say Fallout or something like that. Nope, nothing. 4 lines of text, that was it. I'm taking another swig of my drink. Oh, I made that one strong. Excellent. Jim Beam and Coke, in case you were wondering. Okay, let's move on to the more pressing matters of the game. It's not an RPG, it's an arena brawler, much like God of War or something like that. I didn't really feel like many of the choices I had available to me mattered. The 3 main choices that you get are kind of, yes, that's great, or yeah, okay, or yeah, I guess. That's about it. You're saying yes in 3 different tones of voice, basically. You do get, like, on the other side of the dialogue, some more emotional responses. Obviously, you have your heart responses for those that you are trying to romance, and you have a sort of a crying eye for a more weepy and emotional response, and then you have a clenched fist for angry, and like a head with a load of exclamation marks for shocked. None of them are particularly far away from an emotional neutrality, though. I didn't really feel... It's like in previous games you could be an asshole, right? No, in this game you're very much the good guy. It's very much the good guys will win, the good guys will do under great hardship, will bust through and be a sparkling paragon of goodness, and that's very much what you are. You can't be anything like as dark as you could be in previous games, which brings me on to my next point. It's Dragon Age. It's supposed to be fucking dark fantasy. It's very much not. It is PG. It has been sanitized. You cannot... You're so far away from what Dragon Age actually is, which just claws the score down from you. When you're releasing a new entry in a system, a series such as Dragon Age, it's like you need to have the core Dragon Age tenets, and you just don't have that. You have the words, you have the enemies, although they are redesigned within each of their life, but you don't have the spirit of Dragon Age. I mean, it's arguable that Inquisition was losing it. This has lost it entirely. It's not a Dragon Age game, and it's not an RPG. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, or what they were doing. Let's move on to the elephant in the room, that being Trash. I am aware of her real name, but she is Trash, because she is one of the most spectacularly selfish, self-absorbed, nasty characters I've ever come across in my life. I mean, she is there for non-binary representation. This is not how you go about it. If you want a non-binary character in your game, you don't make it an absolute Karen who is intolerable. She comes out to her mum, and her mum's trying to understand, and she just goes off at her. She is selfish and acts like a 5-year-old. I mean, I don't understand like why they have like chest and sort of mastectomy scars in the character creator. I don't understand why. If you identify as a woman or a man, then you can play a woman or a man. Hell, I'm playing a woman in the footage I captured. My main character was a guy. Most of the time I actually create women characters in games like this, just because I prefer to look at a woman's ass for 40 hours rather than a man's. But personal preference. So I don't understand why you needed those scars, and like, it's medieval times essentially. Why would you risk that? You know, infection was a huge killer back in those days. If you got a cut and it got a bit manky, you were lucky to get out of that alive, because they don't understand germs and shit like that. I mean, obviously there's magic in this, so you could say, oh, they magic them like healed. It was a bit, why do you still have scars if you magicked it healed? You know, why cut them off in the first place? Couldn't you just magic them off? It doesn't make any sense. So it's just full of modern day shit like that, and the dialogue is full of it as well. This does not feel like a Dragon Age game. They're like, they go hard, and it's like it's kind of like the equivalent of like They Fly Now. It's that cringe. Ugh. If you want to put a non-binary character in the game, okay, but do it in a manner that's not going to make people hate non-binary people. This should be like 101. Jesus Christ, this is not the way you do representation. I mean, wherever you stand on it, it's like, if it's a character that's there as a, a decent person, it's like in real life, right? If you know a non-binary person in real life and they're always in your face shouting and swearing and getting angry and screeching at you, it's like, yeah, I don't really want to spend time around you. Whereas if they treat you with respect and like aren't like just demanding shit from you all the time, then respect is grown. It is an organic thing that grows between two people. You don't just get it out of hand. You need to work at it. And if you get to that point, then I'm not going to be an asshole to you, just generally, but I'm also going to have my beliefs and you're going to have your beliefs, and that's fine. We can be two different types of people. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that, and we can interact. And if you're not an asshole to me and I come to respect you, I might, give in some of, I might call you what you want to be called in terms of pronouns, and, the world's all good. Generally speaking, if I don't know what you want to be called, and I don't really have that respect for you, then I'll just call you by name, and that's fine too. But to have your representation just led by this annoying character that is just like absolutely every person on Twitter, or she is the GameStop It's Ma'am character, that is basically trash even. So there's that. I don't like the fact it's in a Dragon Age setting, purely because it doesn't make any sense for it to be there. The way it's handled is not well handled, and the writing is very much like you're in California, which should be expected from a AAA 2024 game. So there's that. And also the writing itself, outside of that, is not good. It doesn't even flow properly. If you listen to the dialogues that flow, and you're like, well, that response doesn't really make sense in context of what was said before. There's a lot of that going on. Some of the voice actors are decent, some are annoying, but I guess that's personal preference a lot of the time. People don't like my voice, and I can understand that. I don't particularly like my voice, but it's the only one I've got, so I can't have to use it. But the writing it's very kindergarten-esque. It's very, you remember like in the previous Dragon Age games where there'd be conflicts between party members? There's virtually none of that here. And the stuff that is there is just the most surface-level bullshit. So, the necromancer wants to take too many books on a camping trip, which you never go on, by the way. And they have an argument about it, and then 5 seconds later, it's all fine. And, it's just stuff like that. I just don't get it. They're continually saying up, and they could do something. I mean, you have a character that is bonded to a demon called Spite. And you're like, okay, well, that's a really good jumping off point, because that just has so much potential. What can we do with this? And 99% of your conversations with him is about fucking coffee. And you're just like, why are you doing this? Even when you do something right, you fuck it up. Stop it. The puzzles in the game are just bullshit surface level nonsense that's just there to be a time sink. So you'll have stuff where you have like elven pylons that you need to put the elven power triangles on top, and it's like, oh, there's a pylon there, I need to go find the elven thing. Oh, there it is, I'll pick it up and put it on the pylon. Oh, there's 2 here, I need to find 2, and it's just like finding them, that's it. Much like opening doors that are covered in blight. You can see pipes coming off, and they go to blight boils, and you smash the blight boils, and the pipes all explode, and it takes forever. And then you have to do that on all of them, and then the door will be smashable, and you can open that. And it's just a matter of finding where they are, and in that case, you've got a fucking pipe leading you to them. What else? You have puzzles where you have to align laser beams into like apertures. And you're like, I've found a laser beam. Where can I? Oh, there's an aperture over there. There we go. Oh, look, there's another aperture there. I must need to find the other laser beam. So you go and find the other laser beam, and it's just the same thing over and over. It's just boring bullshit. I mean, there's statues that you can activate, and basically it will allow you to get more health for your character, which is an interesting thing to do. But it's the same every time. It like activates, and it's these floating sort of scales up in the sky, and there's a beam leading sort of from the statue to the scale, and you've got to hit the scale with your ranged attack, and it's the same every time. It's just like, where is the scale? It's always like having to find shit. It's never actually a puzzle. It's just like, I need to find where this is. It's not a puzzle, it's just exploration. Oh dear. My poor old throat ain't going to be the same no more after doing this 3 times, I'll tell you. Okay, so I think I got most of it out of the way. Jesus Christ. I will let you know I didn't purchase the game. I did but pay for a month of EA Pro Play, which allowed me to play it. As I said, I didn't get a good ending because I had like side quests left. The way it works, it's a lot like the war assets in Mass Effect 3, but split across like provinces. So you'll do side quests and shit in like provinces, and their rating will go up, and it'll be like from weak to strong or whatever. You can do that, and then when they accompany you in the final battle, their strength effects, like you sort of send characters off like you do in Mass Effect. It's heavily leaning into some of that stuff. And if it's the right character you've picked and you've prestiged them because you do all their character arc, and you can prestige them. In some cases you can't, which I will go on to. And you know, their suitability and the strength of the faction you've paired them with will sort of play into whether or not they survive. I think when I started off the final bit, I was like 36 hours in. I'm not doing any more of these side quests. They're all boring. I have no emotional connection to any of my companions, even the one that I'm apparently romancing, which I've romanced by accident. Because, you know me, I just flirted with everybody, because why not? It's better than most of the responses you're offered. I could flirt, or I could say yes in one of 3 different forms, so flirting it was. So I was actually in a relationship with Lace Harding. And I didn't really feel like it was an actual relationship, because, you know, they do some, like, playground flirting shit, and then they kiss, and then you have like an after action scene where they're just sort of laid together, and it's like, okay, so you're not even doing like the campfire silhouette thing. Apparently not. Okay, I don't really want to see Lace Harding in campfire silhouette anyway, so I was okay with that, funnily enough. So yeah, it's just a grind fest basically. If you want the best ending, you will have to do all of the side quests, or at least a good amount of them. I mean, I certainly did a load myself, and, you know, got simply TPK'd in the end mission. I mean, the end is really the only part where it feels more like an RPG, and your choices that you have made have mattered, but it's like the last 2 hours. All the way through the game up to that point, there's very little in the way of consequences. I think I saw maybe one thing where early on in the game, you discover a village that's overcome with the blight, and it's the mayor's fault. He basically was complicit with the blight and let it in exchange for money. And you find him, and he's like wrapped up in the blight, and he's like, help me, and you can like leave him there, or you can help him. And because I was a Grey Warden, I always had the option to send him off to the Grey Warden, so that's what I did. In about 22 hours, we got a very short cutscene where he's apparently saved the group of Grey Warden that he was with, and, you know, so he's like redeeming himself. It's like, ooh, yay, but it has no impact on the game. It's not even like in Mass Effect 3 where you get like, oh well, you know, you now have this additional unit of Grey Wardens to help out and boost your war assets or something like that. It's just like, it's just throwaway. It's just like, oh, you see, that choice you made did make a difference, just not to you. Awesome. Very RPG. I think what also detracts from the RPG nature is you don't really have a character. Rook is very much his own person before you even get into the game. He's been working with Varric, and he's been working with Lace previously, and, you know, he's got this whole backstory. I mean, you can pick like different things, obviously, whether he's a Grey Warden or a Veil Jumper, stuff like that, which does affect his backstory, but it's nothing you play through. You put a name in, but no one calls him anything but Rook. So it's just like, I kind of feel like it's a bit superfluous, and he never felt like my character. He was just like, I'm playing Rook. You know, it's not even to the point of Commander Shepard, because obviously with Commander Shepard you would pick a backstory and then that would have happened, but then you'd also like, you had 3 games with him, and the choices that you made along the way mattered. as far as I could tell, the rook that I started out with was exactly the same rook that I finished with. And, you know, he's obviously got more skills, which aren't great. There'll be like a lot of skills available. You won't be able to buy them all, which I like, because it encourages replay and different builds, but not replay the game. So a lot of the ones are just like, oh, +5 to stagger or shit like that, and then you'll get like little minis of passive ones, and then you'll get active ones which you can slot into your hotbar. You can have like 4 slotted, but I mean, like when you look at Hogwarts Legacy, where you could have like 12, I think it was, possibly more. No, I think it was 16. Just by like sub panels that you could scroll through, but not in this. It's just like, yeah, hold down right, left trigger and pick your skill and press the face button that corresponds, and off it goes. So they do have like specialization skills for the main character, which you can branch out into, but only at like level 20 or something you get access to those. And you know, that's, it's just different color variants of the same thing, kinda. I didn't really find the skills particularly alluring. I was never like, cool, I got that. It was just like, oh, whatever, that one, I guess. Yeah. Let's go with that way. But yes, Dragon Age of Veilguard. I'm going to finally wrap it here because I'm sick to death of talking about it. I've spoken for got probably about an hour and a half on it this evening. I am getting wrecked. So, Dragon Age of Veilguard. Let me know what you think about it down below. Did I miss some just critical part of the game that changed it for you and didn't for me? Is there something I'm missing, or is it truly as terrible as I think it is? If I was, as I said before, if I was rating it purely based on it being a game without any of the social political stuff, or the fact it's a Dragon Age game, it would probably get a 5. As it is crammed full of current day politics, and also crammed not full of Dragon Age, it's down to a 3 for me, and it's not even a strong 3. So make of that what you will. I mean, I'm the guy that had, you know, I'm the guy that rated Outlaws as 7. So if it's coming from me and it's 3, it's got to be fucking bad. Or maybe I just didn't give a shit about Outlaws and they've kind of fucked Dragon Age up the arse. Maybe. It's possible. I mean, at the end of the day, I expected Dragon Age to be good and Star Wars not to be good, so I guess that could have played into it. But anyway, guys, take it easy, and I'll catch you next time.
People are dying right now. You need to listen. Please. People are always dying.